talking about salt brining and anti-icing liquids and things like that. If you guys want to learn more about this or you're in the industry, this is a revolutionizing aspect of the industry. There's a lot of new technology coming out with it, and a little bit later on we're going to head up to Frontier Ag and Turf and check out some new equipment. So stick around if you want to see what's new. Alright, so for those of you that are new to anti-icing or using salt brines or liquids or whatever you want to call it, it all means the same thing. Basically what happens is you mix water with salt, just a normal rock salt, and once you mix that, the salt dissolves into the water, and then you've got a salt water mix. This essentially you spray onto the pavement, the preferred dry pavement at the time. You don't want to spray it directly onto ice because that's going to create a really slippery situation until it manages to melt the ice. So you want to spray it onto the dry pavement or the remotely dry pavement, and usually before a storm, or if you've just got done plowing and the pavement's dry, you could spray it then and wait for the next storm, because with salt brines and liquids, they're pretty much good until it rains on it or snows on it again. It could go 2-3 weeks without snow on it if it's dry conditions, and it'll just stay there on the pavement. So that's one of the benefits to it, is it doesn't really wear out or dry up and blow away like a rock salt would or something like that. So one of the biggest benefits of anti-icing or using a salt brine is it takes about a quarter of the salt material, and it costs about a tenth of what it would to just put a dry salt out on a parking lot. So that's one of the main benefits to you contractors out there, is it's going to cost you less in the long run. You're going to have obviously an initial investment like anything to get into it, because it's totally different than applying normal salt. But in the long run, yes, it is going to help you save money, and it's going to make you more competitive with your pricing, and you're going to be able to get more jobs from that. So there's a lot of benefits there. Also, it's much better for the environment. I know a lot of people care about that, but it's much better for the environment, because when you have a dry salt on a parking lot, and it's just sitting on top of the parking lot. The rocks are sitting on top of the parking lot, basically. And if we have a rainstorm or something like that, it'll wash all that into the gutters and the sewers and whatnot. So basically with that, all you're going to need to pretty much start off with this is you're going to need to have a laser thermometer or something like that, so you can check surface temperature of the pavement. There's only certain surface temperatures of the pavements that this will work at. It's only effective to so far below zero. If you're using a sodium chloride or something like that, just normal salt mixed in. You can also use calcium chloride, which is good to a lower degree, and there's multiple different things you can do to adjust the temperature per se to which it's effective for and good for. So you'll need the thermometer. You're going to need a transfer tank of some sort, or somewhere where you can mix the brine, and then your sprayer unit, which, like I said, we're going to be going up to Frontier Ag and Turf and looking at a skid loader sprayer attachment, and we're going to be demoing it out, testing it out with the guys from Kage, and taking a look at that. So we're going to have that in just a couple seconds here about how it works, and just looking at how easy it is to use and how simple it would be for you guys or for your employees to use it. It's like any other salt spreader. You can leave it on a site, and all your employees got to do is hook up the hydraulics, and go to the skid loader or the tractor on a 3-point, something like that. So it's a super simple thing. It's just as easy as salting. So here's the theory behind salt brining and anti-icing. Basically, it's not called de-icing. It's called anti-icing for a reason. De-icing is there's already been a storm, you've already plowed, and you're coming in after the fact to get rid of the ice. Anti-icing is preventing the ice altogether. Basically what you're doing is putting down an application so the ice never has a chance to form. So think of it like, you're gonna be frying some eggs. You grease the pan or you oil the pan, that way the egg comes off easy. It's the same thing. You're putting the anti-icer, the brine, on the road, that way the snow comes off easy, and then you can do a little bit of salt afterwards if you want to. Ideally, you wouldn't have to do any salt afterwards. So how we break it down is number of gallons, or gallons per 1,000 square feet. Now you can also do it per lane mile, they call it, but most people aren't doing roads here that are watching this, so we're just going to go over the per 1,000 square feet for parking lots and things like that. So basically on a light to moderate snowfall, per 1,000 square feet, you're going to want to have 0.3 to 0.8 gallons. And you're going to have to kind of do some testing on your own, see what works with the temperature and things like that. if you're doing a regularly scheduled apply or application just to kind of do a little maintenance or things like that on a lot, you know, just touch it up with a little salt, make sure there's no issues. Or if there's a frost event or a black ice event where it's going to get warm out and then get cold out or something like that, you're going to want to do about 0.3 to 0.6 gallons. And all this stuff you're going to kind of have to test on your own for your lot and kind of calibrate in for your sprayers and your nozzle types, things like that. Which gets us to another topic of wanting to calibrate everything. Now this is just like a salt spreader, you don't want to be doing too much or too little, you want to find that ideal amount, and finding out and calibrating what your nozzles, what your sprayer, what your setup does is a huge part of it. The best way to do this is take a timer, take a 5-gallon or 1-gallon bucket or something like that, turn on your pump, your hydraulics, however you've got it connected, and then run the timer on it, and then calculate how many gallons per minute, what's your GPM from there, and then you can kind of go into how many gallons per 1,000 square feet, do your conversion of math of how long it would take to do that area, what you're spreading per 1,000 square feet in your per minutes, kind of figure out what speed you need to be going, how wide your angle of your nozzles and things like that can be spread at, if you need to slow down your pressures or speed up, things like that. But I'm gonna shut up now. That kind of gives you guys a background on salt brining. If you guys want to learn more about this or kind of see more videos like this, we got a bunch of information here from this MNPCA class we went to, so we could really get into the you know, the bare bones of the topic here. But I'm gonna shut up. Let's head up to Frontier Ag and Turf and let's check out this brine unit that Kage Innovation just came out with, and let's talk about that a little bit. A couple of people asked me when I was showing this earlier in my other video, how many gallons does it hold? It holds 150 gallons. I don't think I said that when we were up there or last time, and I just want to make sure I say that now. And this thing weighs about 1,850 pounds full of brine. So let's get up there. Let's go check this thing out. This thing is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about this. All right, so this is the new Liquid Rage unit. We're out here at Frontier Ag and Turf. We've got a brand new 317G that is hooked up to it. So we're going to be testing this thing out. They're going to be releasing this to market in a couple months here. If you guys saw our other video of the Kage shop tour, you would have seen this in there. They're working with Frost Incorporated on this unit. So Frost has got many years in the business of spraying with golf course sprayers, different things like that. So this is not a new venture for them by any means, and the fact that they've partnered up with Kage is pretty awesome. So this thing's got some quality components in it, and it's going to be pretty fun to see. We don't have any actual brine in it. It's just water with some antifreeze in there for now to add some color for the demo purposes, and so it doesn't freeze because it is quite cold out here today. Alright guys, pretty much to break this thing down for you here, you're going to adjust your PSI on here, and you're going to want to be between 40 and 60 PSI. Just twist this guy here, simple adjustment. You'll see the gauge go up obviously once you have pressure, when you have your hydraulics activated, so you'll see it from inside the cab. I was just talking with Mike. Looks like you're going to want to have the nozzles about 18 inches off the ground for this unit for ideal spray, and then you can kind of see how they have them patterned out here as well right now. So simple connects up here, simple skid loader attachment, and you've got pin ports down here for your 3-point attachment as well. Got it on this sweet little 317 unit. Looks like a good little machine. I'd be interested to see how one of these machines does. Maybe interested in upgrading our track machine here in the next couple of years. So R.D. O'Reilly, if you're watching, maybe we got to get a demo. That or a 325 might be more adequate. So alright guys, here's a behind the scenes look at what these guys at Kage put into testing out new products. This is more of a photo shoot for them, but a lot of time goes into this. Pretty interesting to see all the time they put in. You guys can see the width of it here. We're getting a little bit wider than the skid loader, probably what, 2-3 feet? Alright, you guys can see now we've got them adjusted much narrower for narrower spray pattern, more dense. Alright, so I'll show you guys the difference here. This is when we had it on the wider setting here, and you can see it on the narrower setting here. You can see we're about 2.5 feet outside the tracks, and then on that one we're about 1/2 foot to 1 foot inside the tracks only. Alright, so we just connected it to the 5065 John Deere. Simple 3-point connection, and then hooking up our hydraulics up here. So you can see now, because we put it on a different machine, tractor, it's got the pump on, it's different. We're adjusting the pressures now, simple as twisting that there.